Hi, my name is Karridi with Art by Karridi. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on how to make mandala rocks. I did a little experimenting so I could tell you what works best. This is a rock that's primed with a white primer. This is a rock that's primed with a white primer, and I painted a blue circle in the middle. This has not been primed at all. It's just a black rock, just cleaned and dried. This is just a black rock, and I painted a blue circle in the middle. This one here, I primed black before I started working on the mandala, and I like this one the best. I think the colors look the best, they look the brightest, it shows up the best. For these mandalas, I use gel pens, and the gel pen that I found works the best is this Jelly Roll Moonlight pen. This is a pen that will write on dark surfaces. It will work on dark paper, black paper. And I found that these work the best. This is what these pens look like. They have a little moon and a star on the cap that shows you that these are the Moonlight ones. Jelly Roll makes a bunch of different kinds of gel pens. So you want to look for Moonlight. I got these on Amazon. And again, these are the ones that work on dark paper. These rocks have not been sealed yet. I will show you what they look like once they are sealed, and then we'll get started on the mandala tutorial. Okay, now I have sealed the rocks, and as you can see, these dark rocks that did not have any paint or anything on the background, they have shined up and they look almost as good as my painted rock now. I still prefer the painted one, the one with the painted background. I think the detail shows the best. I think it has the best color. But now I used a glossy outdoor clear acrylic spray, and that will seal them from the weather. All right, so now let's get to making the mandala. So I have a pre-painted rock here. I painted this one black to start. I'm going to lay out my gel pens in the order I want to use them. And I'm just going to go from the center out, going from one color to the next. So I'm going to start with a little circle in the middle. And there are several different patterns you can do on this. The idea behind it is to start from the center and work your way out. If you go over your lines a couple of times, it makes them bolder and brighter. If you are wanting to make your mandala very, very symmetrical, you want it to be kind of perfect, then you can draw your circles on there ahead of time, and you can draw some different guidelines. I'm not going to worry about that too much right now, because I found even if they aren't perfect, they still look pretty cool. So I'm just adding some detail here. And it's kind of fun, as I'm pulling out from the inside, that orange circle on the inside is still kind of wet. So it's pulling some orange into my pink lines. Now, what I have found with these gel pens is that you want to work on a flat surface. They work best on the rock if you're holding the pen completely up and down. So if you're finding that the gel pen just doesn't seem to be working on your rock very well, try to adjust how you're holding it. It's not a natural way to hold a pen. because I'm holding it completely straight up and down here. And then again, like with other things, if you add simple little details, little polka dots, things like that, that really adds a detailed element to your finished piece without taking too much time or work to get that. I noticed that the pinks and the oranges, the light blues, the bright greens are the colors that work the best. They show up the most. So I'm focusing on those colors. And if you go over the lines more than once, they'll be darker, brighter, thicker. I wondered if this would ruin the tip of these pens, but it really doesn't. They just have a little ball pin in there, and the ink flows out pretty easily. The only problem I had is when I was trying to work on the curved surface of the rock, done in this area, and then I noticed that you really do need to hold the rock and the pen so that the pen is completely vertical. I'm going to add some little bumps. And the main thing with these is just to keep, it's kind of a doodle. You just keep adding more detail. You go around in a circle. And a lot of them, you want to make sure that they're really symmetrical, everything's exactly perfect, but I don't know, I don't always have enough time to do that. Got a lot of irons in the fire, and I noticed that, you know, if it's not perfect, you're just adding a lot of detail and making a lot of intricate parts and pieces, that it looks good even if it's not perfect. So I'm not really being too worried about perfection with this. Now I'm going to make some little, like a leaf shape. We chose the pen colors that I noticed showed up the most on the black. So these are the ones I'm using. I want this to be a really vibrant rock. And see, I'm not gonna go off the edge with that, because that gel pen just isn't gonna work great over that edge. As I say that now, but I might go back and fill that in. If you mess up on your line, just make your lines a little bit thicker. I'm going to thicken some of these other ones. I'm just going to add some more details here. Any little bit of detail, it really adds to your finished product. It doesn't have to be really complicated detail. It can be real simple. It just gives you a more detailed finished product. It looks extra cool. Now, with the gel pens, I haven't had them smear when I seal them, but I did make sure that I used a very light coat the first time. So I went further back with my spray paint, held it probably a good foot away from my rock, and just did a real light coat first. And that was to make sure that it wouldn't smear at all. And then after that, I held it a little bit closer and did a thicker coat. I ended up doing 3 coats of the sealer on top of my rocks, because I don't want the elements to end up ruining these when I hide them. I would love to see the rocks you guys come up with. So if you want to post pictures in the comments, I would love that. I've been saving these videos to Pinterest as well. So if you're on Pinterest, you can look up Art by Karridi, and you can follow my my rock painting board. And you can pin all of the videos in the same spot. I'm just doing little loops around. And then I'm going to kind of fill it in a little bit more, go over my loops so it looks more like I have little black circles that I'm making instead of just orange loops, if that makes sense. So trace around just the outside of my yellow, and then go over each of my little loops I made. Rock painting is not a race, even though I'm doing this fairly quickly. If I wanted to be a lot more precise with my placement, if I wanted to put a whole lot of detail in there, I would definitely take my time. And a rock like this could easily take an hour to do or more. So just keep in mind it's not a race. Don't judge how well you're doing based on how long it takes you. Some of the old masters would take years to do a painting. So speed is not always a judge of talent or ability at all. And there you have it, a gel pen mandala. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I look forward to seeing your creations. Thank you for watching this tutorial by Art by Karridi. Please like, share, and subscribe to see new tutorials each week.